Welcome to Kidmin Backstage, the place where we talk about kids ministry and take a peek behind the scenes. We try to share a little bit of what we've learned that works for us and some of our failures so you can avoid them. We release a new episode every Friday, and this is your Backstage Pass to see the magic or disaster that happens behind the scenes of our kids ministry. I'm your host, Gabe Baker, and today I am joined by Brother Miles Story. How's it going?
It's going good. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally got a schedule. We had to kind of work around a little bit and get things moving. But
conference, work schedule, this, that, and the other.
Yeah. Well, so what are we talking about today?
We're talking about 10Xing.
10Xing. So to 10X KidMin Leader. And so I kind of asked you, if you were familiar with the term, you were, and business and stuff. So, and so we're going to talk about it kind of in that context, but with children's ministry in mind. So, children's ministry thrives when, if you have a big vision, big, huge, ideas, big vision, and then strong leadership to back it up with. And so the idea of 10X challenges us to set goals 10 times bigger and take 10 times the action. Mm-hmm. And that's what we kind of want to talk about today. And then also I wanted to talk about John Maxwell's law of the lid. And so that's just kind of reminds us that results, the results will never exceed our lid. Whether it's, if we're leaders, like in his book, he talks about the law of the lid being you will never be able to lead past your own limitations.
Yeah, your own limitations.
And so I want to talk about that kind of in the context of ministry as well.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely, I know the scriptures are talking about completely different, but I think it does apply, especially when it's talking about ministry or anything that we are looking for. But the Bible talks about where there is no vision, the people perish.
Yes.
And I know it's talking about the pastor or whatnot, but I also feel like we can use that in this context right here. First, if we don't have a vision and have an idea of what we're going to do, we'll be just running around like a squirrel or getting nothing done. Just little here, little there, this, that, and the other, but not making a big positive push towards that end goal.
Yeah. Oh, man, you're preaching to me. I feel like sometimes that's what I feel like. I'm running over here and push this button, go right over here, push this button.
Yeah.
Push this forward. And it's, and like you said, that verse, I think it's Proverbs 29:11. I think that's it. But, maybe it's 18. I can't remember. Anyway, the second part of that verse is, but happy is he that keepeth the law.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take something totally out of context because, it's probably talking about the Old Testament law. But I kind of think of almost like discipline.
Yeah.
So where there's no vision, the people perish. But if you can have vision and have the discipline to, stick with it, then you're happy.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to take that out of context, but I think that, if because I've said this, ideas are a dime a dozen.
Absolutely.
Everybody, you talk about fundraisers. Well, everybody's got an idea.
Absolutely.
But when you go to do the work,
when the rubber meets the road, then you see all the flaws, shortcuts, manpower issues, funding issues, everything in between.
Yeah, and there's another scripture, count the cost.
Yeah, sure, count the cost.
You build a tower, count the cost.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's dive into it. So our first point is to see potential like God does. God sees potential. And we did a podcast kind of similar on this topic alone, but I think that sometimes we limit what we think we can do. And, there's a balance, obviously, to not be arrogant or something like that.
Exactly.
But I do think that a lot of times, myself included, we don't realize our capacity. We don't realize the potential that we have. And where God what's the song, ever see a shepherd boy, God sees a king,
Yeah.
About David. And so we could see in ourselves, we could see I don't think I can do all that, but God sees our potential, and so I think of it like I'm trying to get this out, and I'm having a hard time. What I guess I'm thinking of two sides of it. Is one, like, hey, dream big because God sees you as a bigger potential, but I'm also looking at it like, as a parent, when I see my child, one of my children, fall short because they don't try hard enough or they don't think they can, so they just don't do it all the way. And this is not a common issue with my children at all. But when I see that, it's actually kind of frustrating for me. It's not just like, hey, dream big, go. It's frustrating because it's like, hey, try harder. I taught you better than that. Yeah. Kind of that attitude. And I think that's almost like God to us is like, hey, I created you for more.
Yeah. So many times, I mean, like you said, that's such a big topic right there. You could get so lost in it.
Yeah.
But so many times we are, like you said, and I'm going to probably just reiterate everything you said, but we are our own worst enemy when it comes to our potential.
Oh man. Yes.
We the biggest difficulty is not, it's just in our own mind and our own 2 ears, whether it be feeling inadequate, insecurities, or whatever the case may be. I'm reminded of a message that somebody preached, and basically it was talking about what level do you want to play at? Where do you want to go? Where's your dream? Because God will give us exactly the level that we want to obtain, but not just like, oh, I want to obtain that. No, we have to put the effort and the energy into it.
Oh man,
and then
the work behind it,
and the work behind it, and like this sweat and everything like that. And it's in order for us to be the best Sunday school teacher we are, it's not going to just be a little 30-minute prep right before. It's going to take it's going to take some hours, it's going to take some energy, it's going to take some prayer and effort that nobody's going to see, but God will see. God ultimately, I feel like God will bless and multiply that effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And when you were talking about your kids, it reminded me of a saying I heard. A father was talking to his son. He's like, listen, I want you to shoot big. Listen, I want you to shoot as high as you can. And if you don't quite make it, I'll be okay with that. But I don't want you to see not to try at all.
Yes.
It's something to talk about. Like, I'm okay if you shoot for the moon and you hit the stars.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's, I remember, I don't know if my son Adrian could probably tell me this because, trying to learn how to dunk or something. But, they say when you're jumping high, like if you're jumping to touch the net, aim for the rim, or if you're aiming for the rim, try to hit the backboard. So they teach you that, like to push
further.
Yeah, push further. Shoot beyond what you can, what you think you can do. And so the other note I have is kind of the same thing, but I just said God's eyes, and I'm thinking of the kids in our Sunday school. I think that we as children's ministry leaders and Sunday school teachers, we have a responsibility. You know how we say, like, we want others to see Jesus through us, right? When they see us, they should see a form of Jesus. And so what kind of example are we setting? I think that we have a responsibility to also try to look out at our Sunday school kids, sitting there on the benches, how God sees them.
Yeah.
And that's hard. Because we're flesh. And so it's like, oh, there's, Billy, the annoying one, and there's Sally, so sweet, and so I don't think we can get rid of that completely.
Yeah.
But God sees. I just saw on a ministry chat I'm in, somebody posted a picture of a young boy praying, and I think he got the Holy Ghost, and they were saying that like a year ago or something, this kid was like the worst one. He was always getting in fights and everything. And so you never know.
You just never know.
Yeah, you don't know what, look at, there's examples all through Scripture, right? And so if we can have God's eyes when we come on Sunday and we're in our Sunday schools, if we can look out at the kids and say, okay, what does God see? I think there's like a behind the scene, this is Kidmin Backstage, right? So there's a behind the scenes shift mentally. If you approach it that way, then everything you do now, even if you have to discipline, everything you do is now shifted because you have a different paradigm.
Yeah. And as far as seeing through God eyes and the whole potential there, it's so funny. It's so just wow. We've just over a year and how time goes by. How we've even had a couple of preachers come through my church that I used to go to youth camp with, and I would have been like, I would have not him. Yeah. No way. That was the last person that I ever would have thought of. But it's the potential. God sees some amazing things. Like I have people in different states and stuff, and they were like that one you're talking about, that rough behind the very rough edges, but God got a hold of them, and God started working in their lives, and now they're a witness. Now they're being able to be used in different types of ministries.
Oh yeah. And I'm sure
there's so much potential. Yeah. But it's going to take us loving them, making the difference, loving them, giving them grace, being that, like you said, that Jesus in the world, especially with bus kids.
Yeah.
Being that bright spot in the middle of their week.
Yeah. Yeah. And encouraging them that, like, helping them to see, hey, you are capable of more. You can do something for God, I'm sure that we could look at some big names, in Pentecost of preachers, current preachers, that somebody could say, I remember when, or whatever. And so everybody has those. Okay, so the other thing, coming back to the title of 10X KidMin Leader, is going 10X. And so there's a guy, I do not officially recommend the book 10X. I didn't remember what it's called, 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. I mean, it's a decent book. There's some things I don't care for.
Gotcha.
But there are some concepts in there that are great. And so he has like a 10X conference, I think.
Yeah.
And he's not the one that coined the phrase, but he's I think has made it popular. But think about with ourselves of setting goals 10 times bigger than you think you can actually achieve. And if you think of that, it seems a little bit lofty or pie in the sky in one way. But I also think, like, it's, for example, let's just talk about decor, because we are big on decor. And so if we're thinking about, well, we could hang scene setters over here and make, right now we're doing Coliseum, so we could we could make a scene of a Coliseum, or we could have the kids imagine this or whatever. And I'm not against some of that, because it is great to use the imagination. Or and we could do more than we do. I'm just using it for an example, or it could be like, well, let's build this thing big. And so, like, our Coliseum is, it's 15 feet tall, and we wired lighting in there, so it's got this glow, on the windows and everything. Because I wanted to look like the pictures when you Google Coliseum at night, and so, it's kind of like the go big or go home.
Exactly.
And so it's just kind of pushing it a little further, like, well, or we could do this, and just go all out. It's like our very first Sunday school this style, when we did themed Sunday school.
Okay.
We used Pentecostal Publishing House Kids Power Hour, which is a great curriculum, by the way. But we started with that, and we started with one that had like a boat. And the decor, if I remember correctly, and I'm not looking at it, it's been a long time, the decor, I believe, called for like a boat set up in the corner, like a decor,
Yeah.
Well, we right off the bat built a boat, and we had to take it down every week. But we built a boat that the kids could get in, and that's where we had Sunday school, inside the boat.
Inside the boat.
Yeah, and you walked in, and we had a bubble machine going, and we had blue plastic all on the floor, and then we had these planks that we screwed them to a fire hose, and you could roll it up for storage. And then you just unroll it, and that was like the walkway, the gangplank. So you walk in the door, and you walk in, and I think we had a girl out there with tickets. Like, you get your ticket, and then you'd walk in the gangplank and go onto the ship. And so, anyway, it was kind of like we 10x'd that. We went all out, and it was like completely immersive, like we do now.
Yeah.
And so right out of the gates, we were kind of that way. So I guess with that, we're going to get into it some more, but just think of like, your goals or what you think you could accomplish, even like in time frames, like, okay, this year I want to, and then say, okay, but what if I doubled that, tripled that, quadrupled it? What if, this year we want to increase, attendance or whatever it is, So that leads us to the next point, which is take massive action. So operate at a higher level of action. So inspiration is good and motivation is great, but reaching these goals, especially if they're 10x goals, won't happen without massive action.
Yeah. And something it's probably from you or it might have been from Pastor Burgess, but I heard this thought, and it is basically, so say you got 10 kids. You got 10 kids right now, but you're obviously you're not satisfied with having those 10 kids in your Sunday school.
Right.
You need to start operating it and running it as if you're operating, if you got 50 kids there, like setting up as far as snack and everything like you would need to operate for having 50 kids, and start now. So that way you can work all the work all the glitches, work everything out, but you're taking the action and you're making it to the ability. So when you get those extra kids, guess what? You're good to go. And then you start operating like you got 100. Okay, how are we going to do this differently? How are we going to accommodate this? How are we going to do this? So you almost start working out all the issues, but it's also you're almost acting in a sense of a little bit of faith. Like, okay, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to. This is where we're going to go. It's not going to be in the first month. It may not be in 2 months, but eventually we're going to get to this place where we're going to have X amount of number.
Yeah.
And where you're building yourself in a place of success.
Yeah, I think that's so true. I do think, the phrase "fake it till you make it" gets a bad rap, and there's a reason for it, that it gets a bad rap. But also, I guess maybe on the good side of that is like I heard somebody just recently in an interview, it was business, and they were, I think one of the things was like in some of the top mistakes that small businesses make. Because I remember one was fear as far as starting businesses. Yeah. But one of the top mistakes is not acting like you're a big business. And so I think that like what you just said made me think of that is act like you're professional. You might not be professional yet, but act like you are. Yeah. Or you might not be at the level of, the big, huge church down the road. But put things in place where you act like you are. And because there's a totally different feeling. I was just talking to my daughter about this last night. We were talking about there's another church, and I was saying that there's a different feeling when you have a church of 50 people versus a church of 350 people or even more. Because at 50 people, and I'm not saying this is bad or good. I'm just saying this is it's dynamics. It's a lot more of a family atmosphere. Yeah. It's like, we're going to the beach. Who's going to the beach? The whole church. We're going to go to the beach. We're going camping. Who's going camping? The whole church. We're doing it because we're all together. And then when you get into a church that's larger, 600, whatever, then the dynamics are way different. I mean, you have like what you consider a major event at your church, and there's some people that just are not going to be there. And then now we've gotten to the place where sometimes we're having simultaneous events, kind of major events happening. And so, and there's some people that are there and some people that are over there. And so anyway, it's a totally different dynamic. And so I put down this note that don't excuse yourself. And so Brother Booker and I recently talked about this on a podcast, but everybody is busy. Everybody is busy. And so, and sometimes we wear it like a badge of honor, and that's fine. I'm sure I've done that too. But everybody is busy. Yeah. And the thing is you can ask a 16-year-old, not disparaging 16-year-olds, but you could ask a 16-year-old, and they are just as busy as I am. Not that I'm anything, but they're just as busy as I am. But the there is a difference, though.
Yeah.
And so, and I've tried to rephrase my own thing, like when I say I don't have time, or I didn't have time to do this, thus and such, is I didn't make the time because it wasn't a priority, basically.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to, in my head, rephrase that to I didn't make the time to do whatever, because everybody is busy. But the key is like, what are you producing? What's filling your calendar? And are you getting any closer to your goals?
Yeah. If this vision is ultimately going to be such a big part of you, it's going to ultimately consume you. So what are you going to do to make this thing take place?
Yeah.
Because everybody like in the business world, everybody has ideas, but we're going to take action upon it. Again, if you take action, it's going to take priority in your life, just like how we need to take priority for devotion with God.
Yeah.
We also need to make a priority of, okay, how can I better myself in Sunday school?
Yes.
In some little way, one way or another. I mean, you may not have a massive amount of time each and every day, but it's just, I know we've talked about that on this podcast before, but it's just like that. Just like 15 minutes every single day. It'll make a huge difference.
Yeah. Compound effect.
The compound effect. I'm going to butcher this fact horribly, and you're going to probably be able to correct me. But it's like something like if you spend 15 minutes a day trying to learn a language or trying to learn some sort of musical talent, you'll be so much further ahead in just 1 year.
Oh, yeah.
Then somebody says, oh, yeah, I'm trying, and they do an hour here and do an hour there. Just that little bit of difference, like you said, that compounding effect. Well, ultimately, it's going to grow, and it's going to gain that momentum. It's just like that compound interest. But we're going to use this in when the things of God, we're going to compound. It's going to grow, and it's going to grow, and it's going to grow.
Stay focused and do it. Yeah. Be willing to do consistently what others are willing to do occasionally.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
Be willing to do consistently what others just do occasionally. And I'm speaking to myself too, because it's easy. It's easy to, have the flash in the pan, like all the inspiration and gumption, and then it goes away, and it's like, well, I mean, I took a stab at it,
Yeah.
And so the other, I wrote maximize time, and so be ruthless in minimizing or eliminating time wasters. And again, because I think, we're all busy, but if you really look at, and myself included, if you look at where am I spending my time, I mean, it's amazing how, like you just made the example about 15 minutes. Well, if we capitalize on that, like I'm not quite as good at this in my personal schedule yet, but like my work schedule, somebody, I work for the state, and somebody else in our church works for the state for a completely different department, but they were able to locate my calendar, and it's all private, it's just blocks. But they were like, man, you have a lot of meetings. And I do. I make joke that I do meetings for a living. But I've gotten to where my calendar is pretty, it's really specific, and there's not much open time. It's like I know what I'm doing, and I plan it out. And so, and I do that. I guess I tend to lean that way. And so I do that for youth and Sunday school scripts and stuff like that. But if it's amazing when you start, you're like, oh, an hour here. Well, really? Can you do it in 15 minutes? Yeah. I set 20-minute meetings all the time, because it's like, it doesn't need 30 minutes. The default is 30 minutes, but we can get it done in 20. And so, yeah. Okay. The third point is raise the lid. So any of you that are listening, this is good for video. So, and anybody watching is probably wondering, why do we have this Tupperware container sitting on the table right in the way? Like, why don't they move that out of the way? And so if you want to see this and you're listening, you can go to YouTube. It's at Gabe-Baker, or you can search Kidmin Backstage. But I have this Tupperware here. What color? I'm colorblind. Does it match?
It does match. It's like that orangey red color.
Look
Very
at that.
similar to the Kidmin.
I did not plan that. That's really cool. This was backstage. So I have this Tupperware here. So our third point, raise the lid. And I wanted to talk about this experiment that Maxwell talks about in his book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And he said that I might butcher this a little bit because this is all from memory. I didn't look it up recently. But they did this experiment where they got fleas. And they captured these fleas and they put them in a Tupperware container like this. And the fleas would fly around and they would go up and they would bump their heads against the lid.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the time span was. I think it was just a few days. They took the lid off. And all the fleas stayed.
Yeah, they stayed in there.
They stayed in there because they didn't want to bump their head anymore. And they had this lid, metaphorically now, and they didn't escape because they remembered that lid.
They just kept on hitting themselves.
They kept on hitting themselves. And so we have to raise the lid in our own lives, in our own capacity. The other one I just thought of is, have you heard like circus elephants? Like they'll tie they put a leash on them essentially to their leg and like a tent post or tent peg. And they're little and they try to pull and fight for like weeks. And then they just give up. And then they're huge. They could pull the whole tent down.
Absolutely. But they never try because they have this mental block in their minds that I can't get past this. Yeah. I can't do more than what this is.
Oh man, this could be a whole podcast with itself.
It definitely could be.
But yeah, so that's basically raise the lid. And so I have a few notes here, and we gotta. I'm trying to keep these closer to 30 minutes if we can. But over prepare, and so I expect that there's going to be problems. I don't mean be a pessimist, but just know that things rarely do things ever go to plan.
No, there's always going to be some sort of hiccup or something. This object lesson, you thought it was going to turn out great. You're going to spill something or something's going to happen. Or this game that you got planned, it looks so fun. It looks so amazing. And then it's just like,
Yeah.
That's why we got backups.
Yes. So the other night, Brother Aaron, who is a guest on this podcast all the time, he texted me and said that he would maybe be somewhere because he had to get his car fixed. And he's like, it's pretty easy and whatever. And so he told me what it was. And I said, okay. I texted him back. I said, well, remember the rule. I said, expect that it's just going to go terribly wrong. You're going to have to go get parts that you did not expect that you're going to have to get. I said, and then if it goes well, thank you, Jesus, and you're just great. But if it doesn't, then you're not frustrated. And he is like, yeah, that's the truth. And so I meant to follow up and see how it went because he didn't show up.
So the funny thing is I worked yesterday, and then I had to do some underground work for our parking lot for the lighting.
Oh yes.
And my wife was like, okay, how long is this going to take you? I'm like 2 hours at most. I think I really only going to take me an hour.
How long did it take you?
7 hours later. And the crazy thing is like, why did that take you 7 hours? I'm like, well, Home Depot run, and then just this, that, and the other. I had to dig some more, and just life just happens. So I thought, like I've done some work for people in the church, and I thought, man, I should know how long this is going to take, but that's why
if it went perfectly, probably
if it went perfectly, it probably would have only taken me 2 hours, but no.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, and so that actually leads into the next note I have there, which is really good, is with that example is plan, then adapt. Yeah. So don't throw planning out the window. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean like, well, it's going to go wrong anyway, so why plan? There's some people with that attitude. It's like, hey, it's going to go wrong anyway, so why, we can ad-lib. Why have a script? We can ad-lib it.
Yeah.
But you plan and then you adapt. And so you don't throw the plan out the window. Just know that you have a plan that you can either deviate and come back to, or you shift and do something else. But you started with a plan, and that plan helped.
Oh, it 100% helps it.
Yeah.
You're talking to a planner right here. Like I am a planner. Like
me too.
Sometimes I drive my wife nuts with how much I like to plan things. I'm like, okay, well, if this happens, then I can do X, Y, Z. But if this over here happens, then I got something no matter what. I already got it all planned out. So hopefully I won't be surprised. And guess what? Then I'm still surprised.
You're still surprised.
I'm still surprised.
Well, I remember So I used to be a lot into reading about Navy SEALs and stuff, and I had some friends that I worked for a guy that was a Navy SEAL. And,
oh wow!
And I remember, I think it was in an interview or something. I don't think it was somebody I talked to, but they were talking about planning, and they said that they plan for like everything, every contingency and everything, but their strategy, he said, was kind of loose.
Yeah,
because there's so many variables, but they would have a plan going into it that was like rock solid. I mean, and they would even practice, they practice different things, set up, in a warehouse or whatever, and try to get as close as they can to the place they're going for a mission. So yeah, definitely have a plan, but then adapt, adapt when things go off schedule, things go awry, because remember, kids are unpredictable.
100%.
And so just the last thing I put there is just enjoy the journey. I mean, don't get bent out of shape when things fall apart. This is Sunday school. It's going to be messy.
It's going to be messy. You're going to be sweaty.
Yeah.
You're going to, there's going to be some sort of mess, but enjoy it and have fun. Because, the kids ultimately, they're going to see you having fun, and that's going to ultimately, that's going to put into them, oh, Sunday school's fun. It's going to put in them that joy, oh, I can't wait to get to Sunday school.
Yes.
There was, this is totally off topic, but it talks about joy in Sunday school. There was, in Brother Booker's church, many, many years ago, there was some sort of criminal thing going on in this specific neighborhood. They had everything shut down. The cops, they were nobody was allowed to go in and out. And this little kid was getting interviewed by the television station. And then they're asking this little kid, what do you think about this? He's like, I don't know, but they better get this fixed because I got Sunday school tomorrow and I'm going to Sunday school.
Yes, that's awesome.
So we got to put that joy so that way the kids, they love Sunday school, and that's like I mentioned earlier,
that's so important.
It's the brightest part of the week that they I can't wait. We got Sunday school coming up. I can't wait.
Yeah. And so to wrap this up neatly, because that's a great story to end on.
Yeah.
To wrap this up neatly is we want to give kids that feeling and that experience, and we want them to get the Holy Ghost. What can we do to 10x that?
Yeah, that right there.
What can we do to make it where not only where they're I really, really, really want to go 10 times more.
Yeah.
I really want to go, but also how can we 10x the elements of that? I know Brother Booker's church, just to mention them again, they used to, I think they might still do it, but they have a red carpet that they roll out,
Whoa,
and you walk in on the red carpet when you come off the bus.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so just little things, what are the little things we can do to make a huge difference, huge impact in their lives. So, all right, well, I think with that, that's a wrap.
All righty.